So the Supreme Court today has declined to get involved in the petitions filed requesting court intervention and cognizance of police brutality and the actions taken by the police to quell protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act in Jamia University and in Aligarh Muslim University. Now, a number of petitions had been filed by the by students and alumni from Jamia and from Aligarh Muslim University. They were being heard by the Chief Justice of India, Sharad Arvind Bobde. Yesterday he had said he would not hear the case till the rioting stopped, and today the matters were heard altogether. The Chief Justice from the outset was indicating that he did not think the Supreme Court was in a position to get involved in these cases because they would require fact-finding, which the court couldn't do from here, couldn't set up sort of one inquiry and committee to do that because there were protests happening across the country. And as a result, he said that it was actually more appropriate for the high courts to actually get to these matters. So now the final order also has directed the petitioners in these cases to approach the high courts in whichever high court has the jurisdiction over the university in question. So whether it's the Delhi High Court for Jamia, whether it's the Allahabad High Court for Aligarh, or given other protests happening across the country, the petitioners are also urged to approach those high courts. The idea is they must take their concerns there. The high courts will then decide whether or not to appoint fact-finding commissions based on hearings given to the petitioners or to the government as well. These fact-finding inquiries could include retired judges of the high courts or of the Supreme Court. The court has said, but they've not said that is a requirement. It's important that this was obviously passed because the Delhi High Court had initially refused to hear petitions by Jamia students with any urgency. So that's an important step, that the Supreme Court order will now mean that high courts will have to start looking into all of this. The central government here was represented by Solicitor General Tushar Mehta. He tried to argue that everything's fine, no students have actually been arrested, students are being given medical treatment. The Supreme Court has said that those are questions which have been contested by the petitioners, who were not allowed to sort of go into facts today. Neither was the Solicitor General to a large extent. On that basis, there is no finding of fact in this order as to who was responsible for the violence or what exactly has been happening in the course of these protests. So that's an important aspect of the order. The CJI said that he does not intend to make any statement about that, or even about whether the students were involved, because yesterday his comments in a brief hearing in this matter were being construed as him saying that the violence was the responsibility of the students. He is saying that is not the case, and he repeated that several times, so that is an important thing to check. Now, the other thing to remember here is that the high courts will now be approached. Already several of the petitioners here have already agreed to sort of move the Delhi High Court for the Jamia students and the Allahabad High Court, which will probably be the Lucknow bench of the Allahabad High Court for the Aligarh Muslim University students. The Quint will have all the updates for you, so stay tuned for that. Also remember that there are no interim orders here by the Supreme Court, so there is no protection from arrest for any of these students. There is no directions for them to be allowed to remain in their hostels. But we'll obviously be seeing and keeping track of what the High Court said.